We are storytellers by nature, sharing with others what we experience, perceive, and believe of life, our joys, adventures, our losses. We tell ourselves stories as well. Some leave us trapped by false beliefs and self-doubt. But there are also stories of persisting, exploring, and rising above. Stories of uncovering the truth, enabling powerful transformation and triumph. These are those stories. These are your stories. Hello, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Zoe Muro. I'm a licensed practitioner here on the New Thought Media Network, and I am also the host of this wonderful show. And so it is. Stories of truth, transformation, and triumph. What makes this a wonderful show, by the way, is not me, but the incredible people that I get to speak with and bring here to share their stories. So I said that I'm a religious science practitioner with the New Thought Media Network. I'm also a transformational coach. Both my ministry and my mission are to help people co-create the most authentic and most fulfilling life experience possible. We're here each Saturday. Well, we're here the first Saturday of each month at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if this is your first time, it's so good to have you here. And if you're returning, welcome back. In each episode of this show, we'll hear how people like you, people like me, who have been held back by false or limiting beliefs, uncovered their truth, enabling them to transform their life experience and then triumph because of their spiritual journey. Which brings me to today's guest, my dear friend, fellow practitioner, and one of my prayer partners, Bonnie Gonzalez. You know, if I gave Bonnie's entire bio, we'd have no time for the rest of the show. So I'll be brief. I'm sure Bonnie's story will fill in some blanks as well. So here we go. Bonnie is a certified grief educator, a grief coach, a registered nurse, a religious science practitioner, a licensed soul collage facilitator, and a former hospice and palliative care nurse. Bonnie also currently has a weekly program right here on the New Thought Media Network titled Your Doula for Grief. And so with that brief bio, and believe me, it was brief. It was beef? No, it was brief. I give you Bonnie.
Oh, morning, Zoe, or good afternoon, whatever time anyone is watching. But for us, it's morning. And I love that you said a brief bio, and then you said beef. So it is a brief bio that is filled with meat or beef. So thank you. You did a great job with that. So I just want to take a moment to thank you and to commend you on having this brainchild of a beautiful idea of this truth, triumph, and transformation. So I just want to applaud you for allowing us all to have a different perspective of ourselves. And so thank you. I admire the work that you do. So thank you.
All right.
Yes.
So, Bonnie, first of all, where in the world are you?
Right now, and let's just point to right now, I am in Chapala, Mexico. And that may be changing, but for right now, today, I'm in Chapala, Mexico. And been here really 2.5 years. I was just telling someone that when I got here, I said, oh, I really don't like this place. I'm leaving. And the person said to me, you just wait. You're going to fall in love with it. Give me your phone number because we'll be best friends this time next year. And I was telling him there won't be a next year. But for right now, I'm in Jalisco, and it's beautiful. It's in Chapala, the state of Jalisco, Mexico.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, Bonnie, I was so delighted that you agreed to be on the show.
Yes.
And I know that there are many different aspects of your life in which you have transformed.
Yeah.
But I know that you've also selected a particular idea for today. So why don't you tell us about that?
Wow. Thank you, Zoe. When I agreed to be on the show with Zoe, it was a mutual thing. It was no arm twisting was needed. My friend Zoe said he needed a guest, it was desiring a guest. But here's where I'm gonna start, Zoe, and I'm gonna start with 2020 because I know in my heart that we all have stories. We all have experiences from 2020 that maybe we've not yet unpacked ourselves. And by Zoe offering me this opportunity, it allowed me some unpacking of 2020. And 2020 will go down in history for all of us with probably lots of different reasons. But here's mine. 2020 started off with in February of 2020, my baby brother made his transition on Valentine's Day. The next month, there was the shutdown with the pandemic, which at that time I was working as a home health nurse. So making visits to patients' homes. And believe me, that was a stressful time. I would get to a patient's house and it took more time to calm them down. I say, get them back from the ledge because they were so anxiety ridden about where have you been? Have you been to nursing homes? Have you been in those places where people had COVID? And their concerns were legitimate. And so I, as a nurse, that was a part of my role, that mental check-in as well as the physical. So as I said, it would take me more time mentally to get them calmed down than my physical assessment. And I did that until about June of that year. And then I was living in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, El Cerrito, loved it. I was living in this house, so I tell people this all the time. I loved that house. And that house loved me. So, this love affair that was going on. And then the landlord called one day and said he wanted to sell the house. And did I want to buy it? I don't know if you know anything about houses in the Bay Area, but that time it was like close to $1 million. And I was like, wow, at this stage of my life, do I want that kind of debt over my head? And I tell people this is not even my usual language to say this. But anyway, it was 1:00 in the morning. I don't know what I was looking for in my closet, but obviously I was looking for something. And I just heard the voice of God. It's a voice I never heard in my life. It said, Bonnie, give everything away. Move to Ireland and be with your daughter, Kelly, in Ireland. And it was so clear. It was one of those voices that there was no space to argue, question, or anything. It was like hearing a truth. It said, move to Ireland. You'll be very happy. So I wake my husband up, Tito, and I said, Tito, how would you like to move to Ireland? And he's like, what? I said, move to Ireland. He goes, yeah, baby, let's do it. And so that started. That was really, so have you ever had times in your life that you look back and you say, how did I make it through that period?
Yeah, quite a few, as a matter of fact. But what's really interesting with what you were just talking about is that you started off with your feeling of lack, of you were worried, that you would not have enough, and then you turn around and you go into abundance by getting rid of things.
Oh my gosh, that's the part that I don't know how I did that. We had a house that had 4 or 5 bedrooms, four. It was big. It was a big space. I gave everything away. I don't remember selling much of anything, but I gave everything away. I still have visions in my head of someone. I had a beautiful stature. It's green Tara. And in the Tibetan tradition, she's the mother. She's like the earth mother. I still have a vivid memory of somebody taking her away and feeling like, wow. Because each thing I gave away felt like a piece of me. It was a piece of me. And we weren't just moving. We weren't just moving to Ireland. Like people say, move. I was leaving behind a life. I was leaving behind a life, a lifestyle. I had friends. I still have friends, but I had friends. I had my daily routines. I had everything was in place. And so anyway, we continued to give things away. And finally, I had to stop working because it just got to be too stressful with trying to work and move. So I gave up my career as a nurse at that time. And then I had to have eye surgery. And finally, we get to Ireland. Finally, we get to Ireland, and hopes and dreams and all of those things were in play. And then one day I got a call that my oldest sister died suddenly in a convalescent home. And during that time, as you know, in COVID, there was no going back for funerals. There wasn't any way to bring about a ritual or ceremony to the end of someone's life. And I still say now, even as a doula for grief, as a grief coach, that is a loss I still have not fully grieved. I still have not fully grieved that. But anyway, so I'm finally living in Ireland. Everyone feels that it's so exotic when you move away. You're living in Ireland. And it's like, yes. But suddenly, Zoe, I found myself in a really dark place and not able to figure out why. It's like the things that used to make me happy no longer made me happy. The things that I would do or say, even the books that I would read were no longer of interest. And I just remember thinking, what is wrong? What is going on? And never did I stop to put together maybe all these losses that were going on, a big lifestyle change. I just really did not, wasn't at that time able to put that together. And I remember this. I remember so vividly crying myself to sleep at night. But by day, I was the household cheerleader. Talk about putting on a mask. Putting on a mask. Now I'm going to tell my age. There's an old song by Smokey Robinson, Tears of a Clown, and a smile on my face is the makeup that I wear. So the smile was really covering up this deep sense of loss, so a sense of loss. And I'm going to remind you and let people know that at that time, both Zoe and I were in practitioner training, but we finished our practitioner, shipped in and had our panels. And here I was, both of us as practitioners. And even as a practitioner with my spiritual practice, that's what got me. That's the part that was so difficult for me at that time to contend with, that I have the spiritual practice. I just became a practitioner. Why aren't I happy? What is this all about? What's going on?
So Bonnie, what made you feel that you needed to put on that false face?
Oh, Zoe, I love you for those questions, for that question, because that is who I saw myself as at that time. And that's a truth, the matriarch of the family, the one that holds it all together, the one that cheers other people on and encourages them to be their best, that was my role. So how could I suddenly just fall apart out of that role? It's like, well, that was just who I want to say am and was, but yes, that's me, a part of me. a part of
Mhm.
me, a part
Mhm.
of me. When I was in my coaching training, I had a coach. We all had to have a life coach when we were in
Mhm.
coaches in our training, and he would always say that whatever you say about yourself, that I am sad, I am lonely, I am the cheerleader, a part of me is sad. A part of me is lonely because we are, as we talk about in our own practice here, whole and complete. And in that wholeness, yes, there are different parts.
Mhm.
So that's why I felt like I had to be the one. And that brings me to a point that, yeah, I just want to say this. This is just coming to mind that, yes, it's okay for me to be that one. It is okay for me to be that one that's the cheerleader, the motivator, the one that gets people going. But I need a place to go to be recharged. I need a place to connect in. And in my doing my, if I want to call it cheerleader role, forgetting that I need to be cheer led at some point
Mhm.
and not to completely give myself away into any of the roles or the parts of me. So, yes.
Mm. It's funny when we put ourselves in a position where we have to be quote unquote perfect,
Hmm.
we're actually making things really difficult for other people.
For other people. And in,
Right?
in, in
Because
what way would you say that?
we're not allowing them to be
Mm,
who they are. We're saying, well, look, I am the rock, I am the answer to everything. Well, then what's wrong with me that I have problems? But you're perfect.
right.
You
I
have no
hear you.
problems. I've got all these problems. So
I hear you.
it's a matter of how do we actually model what we believe?
Mm, mm. How do we model it? Oh, mm,
So if your belief at that point was, I need to be this rock, I need to be this impervious individual, all right,
yes.
that's going to present a very different image to the world.
Mm. Gosh, I was going to say, really, presenting unnecessary problems for yourself,
Hmm.
unnecessary problems for yourself. Because, Zoe, and now that you're saying that, it was in those moments that I begin to realize I am me. I'm a person. It's anything else that comes, that's just labels that I have attached to me, and then I've become attached to the label to live up to. Um, one one thing that I used to say, and just to make the example, I used to say, "Oh, if there was anything in this world that I've done correctly, and that was to be a good mother. Oh, I am a good mother. I, made sacrifices. I did this, that, and the other. I was a good mother." And then I would start having incidences that would happen that I had to make a choice about, oh, well, a good mother wouldn't do this. A good mother wouldn't go on vacation and have fun without the kids. A good mother wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. That I had painted myself into a corner with the good mother role. And I finally had to let go of saying I was a good mother to just say that I am a mother. I am a mother. Any other thing that comes, it is, like I said, a label that I've put on myself. Talk about a limitation, so a limiting belief that I have placed in that quote unquote, it sounds so positive. But it's limiting. It was very limiting.
Hmm.
And yes,
Do you have any sense as to where that came from?
the good mother.
the idea that, you have to be the good mother and you have to be the rock.
Oh, because of the way I was mothered and my judgment of my own mother, like, I'll never do that with my kids. I'll be a good mother. I won't be a tyrant. What? I'll just leave it there because my mom's gone, so she's not here to defend herself. She's not here to say, Bonnie, but you were a handful. But anyway, it was. I would just say socialized in a different way. And I'm sure lots of cultures put a lot on women, because I was going to say with African American culture, but I think about other cultures and I won't just say, but I just know from my culture, there is a lot of pressure to be the rock, to be the monarch, because, life is going to be hard and it's going to be tough. So you gotta stand up, and you've got to be ready to help others stand up that can't. So I would say just being socialized in that way, using my mom as an example of, I don't want to be that way. so thank her so much. Got lovers. So anyway, so I think I digress a little bit from talking about my dark night of the soul, but I do want to come back to it because it was, as I said, being that cheerleader. So you're so right. Being that cheerleader was another thing, that rock that I saw myself as, that was really limiting me from saying to myself at that point that I needed help, I just knew that I was sad. And the thing about it, my husband, Tito's a great partner. But in that time, during that time, I even felt like I couldn't burden my partner with more. I couldn't burden my partner with more because he was dealing with the same separation that I was dealing with and handling in different ways. And as I tell my coaching clients, or telling my coaching clients, when I ask them, when they come with whatever issue and they want support, I ask them, who in your life right now can support you in going through this, moving through this? And the first thing they say, oh, my partner can help. It's like, no, your partner already has a full-time job. Your partner has a full-time job being your partner and dealing with all of the issues and the ramifications that come up under that. But with this grief, you're going to have to build another, oh gosh, you're going to have to build a support system, but I don't want to just say it that way. I was going to say you have to build what's called a collateral circulation. And this is from being a nurse, okay? Say that you have a heart blockage. The heart is blocked and the blood can't really perfuse to the muscle. Do you know that you will start to grow little blood vessels that will feed the area that's getting blocked? And so that's how I like to think of it, that you're building a collateral circulation when you reach out for help, when you reach out to get support from others. So that's what I felt like, that I had to build collateral circulation to be able to move through this blockage. But the only thing, so, is that my collateral circulation wasn't perfusing fast enough. It was like, I need more. No, because I did reach out. So, and you were there for me during that time. I remember a couple other people, well, I don't have to say their names, but other friends that were there that I could reach out to. And the thing about our beautiful friendships is that each friendship will feed a different area of your need. Each friend will bring out something different. And so that's where I was. So in this dark night of the soul, trying to build this collateral circulation that was just taking a long time, a long time. And I'll stop there and give you some space to ask a question or pause. I'm sorry.
Well, that's quite all right. That's quite all right.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious to know, I
Yeah.
see we have some people watching. I'm curious to know who's here. So I see
Oh,
Shay is here.
yay.
Anybody else want to put a comment in so I can tell who you are, where you're from?
Acknowledge your presence. Let us acknowledge you. Let us love you up and lift you up. And Shay, thank you for being here. I do know Shay, so thank you.
Okay, well, not seeing anything right now.
Yes, it's
All
okay.
right. So you're in this dark night of the soul, and you're realizing that where you had started with this belief that you had to be the end all and be all for everyone, except for yourself, apparently.
Yes, except for myself.
Okay.
Numero uno.
So what shook that? What was able to break that for you?
So I am very, very social, even moving away, even moving to Ireland. I had a connection there. And I think, this connection came through CSL, that I met Laura Topper. At that time, she was with New Thought Media. And she was region, oh gosh, what is that region? It's not region 12. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. But anyway, there was a region in the UK. I got connected with them through Laura. And she was the one that just started talking about New Thought Media. And she had me as a guest on her show, and I loved what she was doing. And she said, oh, Bonnie, New Thought Media is growing. And I know that you have a voice that you could lend to New Thought. Or how would you feel about lending your voice to New Thought Media? Well, so I was just so, as I said, just in such darkness, I was willing to just try. And it's like, yeah, maybe that'll be a different avenue. Maybe that'll stimulate my creative juices again, or get something flowing, get that collateral circulation really in full gear. So she had me talk to Rev Robert, and we had a conversation, because I thought, wow, being the cheerleader, though, being the helper, being the numero uno person that can help anybody with anything, it's like, yeah, let me see what they need. And so I was talking to him. We had a lovely conversation. And then I said, and so exactly what do you need? Laura was saying you needed help with the station. And he was like, yes, but what do you want to bring to the station? What do you want to give to the station? What would you like to have a program about? And so at that point, you could have knocked me over with a cheap feather. a feather from a baby chick. You could have just knocked me over. And now this kind of makes me sad when I even think about it. So just bear with me. Never had I asked someone, never had I had someone ask me what it is that I wanted to give to them. It was always, Bonnie, I need. Bonnie, can you do? Bonnie, can you go? Never had I had someone to see me as a human in need, as a human with a, as a human that has something to give versus just take from that person. Does that make sense? To just take.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And I hate to say it, as a woman of a certain age, that I had never had anybody ask me that. I had never checked in to see what it is that I wanted to give voluntarily to give. And at that point, so I had to say, I don't know. I said, I don't know. And he was so kind because he could have said, what do you mean you don't know? And no, he was like, that is okay. He says, what I want you to do, I want you to go and just take some time and do some visioning around what it is that you would like to bring to New Thought Media. And that was a big shift. So that was a big shift because maybe this entire dark night of the soul, even we're looking at it in hindsight, was about that. For me to look within, not looking without, not looking to cheer people on, not looking to be, partner, a mother, or whatever. It allowed me to connect in with me and what gifts. And if I am a cheerleader or a giver, if I connect into me to know what my strengths are, that makes me even more powerful when I do turn to give, when I do turn back around to give. So that was just, as I said, I still remember the moment. I could still remember. It was one of those things, though, that you can remember where you were standing and on the phone and what you were looking at. I was in my daughter's kitchen. I was looking out into the backyard, which is beautiful and spacious, and thinking, what gifts do I have to give? What gifts do I have? Honoring that, bringing value back to myself. So it brought value back to me. That I matter because of the gifts that I have to bring.
Yeah, I have to wonder if at other times in your life, a similar situation hadn't come up, but you couldn't see it.
Oh, so I'm sure. I had a million. I kept going, oh, no, not now. Oh, no, I'm not going over there. Oh, no, not me. It's like,
yeah.
Oh gosh, not me, but I could tell you even with other dark situations that I had, my key, I think in the past, and each time it always comes back to spirit. It always comes down to my spirituality, my practices. I know when I had another time it was truly, truly turbulent. I was new to practicing Buddhism, and it just propelled me in a way to really, oh gosh, just embrace the philosophy of Buddhism. And that is the similarity, because now practicing science of mind, I think it's been 10 years. I guess that's kind of new for a lot of people, but I've been practicing Buddhism forever. Buddhism is a philosophy, but it made it easy to embrace science of mind because the philosophies are so the same. So it made that really easy. But I would say even other times that this happened, I used, a spiritual practice to philosophy to move through. And here again, I really think, so I think it's timing. I think it's all timing. When you stop to take that internal deep dive, it has to be timing. It not has to be. It is. All in divine time is my statement that I use for myself. In divine time, and this was a divine time. Michael Beckwith puts it lovely. He says the Corona bonus. So that's what I'm saying. The bonus was for me was this deep, deep, dark night of the soul, and coming back out of that, and not pushing fast forward, but coming back out of it in a way that I am just a totally different person today. The same person that was August 2020 to August 2024, totally different. Just a life that has just, I was going to say been cracked wide open with goodness, with goodness and abundance. And anyway, I won't jump ahead too far. So
I'll try I like that, cracked open with goodness. Actually, there's a quote I'll use later on that's going to tie right into that. So
Um,
I want to just point out that here you were in a situation where you were at a real low point in your
oh,
life. You
at the
were
lowest.
just, the energy just was not there. Things were stuck. And
Mhm.
yet you found a way to move on. Right. So now
Mm.
you were able to accept what Reverend Robert had said. By the way, the person we're speaking of is Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski.
Yeah.
He's the founder of New Thought Media Network.
Yes.
And Laura Topper, who's Reverend Laura these days, if I remember correctly.
She's Reverend Dr. Laura. Everybody's got titles.
That's right.
Now.
She's Reverend Dr. Laura.
Uh-huh.
Another powerhouse, right? So here are these two powerhouse people that came into your life at just the right time.
Wow. Wow. So I'm just wowing hearing you say that. I mean, it was like these two powerful bookends, and I'm the book that needs to be held up. I'm sorry.
No, you're not the book that needed to be held up. You were the book that needed to be opened.
Oh my gosh. Zoe is a poet along with so many other things. So many other gifts and talents that he has. Wow. So yeah. So can I speak a little bit about that process?
Please.
What I feel that it was for once in my life that I couldn't get a magic cure. You know, it's like Laura showed up, you know, I'm thinking, okay, magic cure, but she laid, she, I want to say she laid one of the steps on that path to success. She put a stepping stone there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was to lead me to Rev Robert, who laid another stepping stone. And what I want to say is that during that dark night of the soul, there was a part of me that just allowed myself to feel the discomfort, to feel the pain of it, to feel the loneliness. And I say that because when I talk with patients about grief and being with grief, I always say you have to lean into your grief so that it does start to dissipate. That's what I had to do with the dark night of the soul. I had to feel it. I had to lean into it because all of these things, they come to pass. If I'm resisting it, holding it down, it can't pass. We all know what you resist will most definitely persist.
Mm.
So I allowed myself to be in that dark night of the soul, but not just to wallow in it. I did keep looking for glimmers of light, of hope. Rev Robert, Laura, Zoe, my prayer partner, other friends that I had in the US, still looking. And I want to take this moment to read this poem by Rumi, because I think this poem allows me to understand the importance of leaning into it. So the poem is by Rumi, and it says, "Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut you more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few humans and even divine ingredients can. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear." And that's what I felt by leaning into it. It made my need for God more clear.
It's so counterintuitive in our society. to lean into the grief, to lean into the pain, to stay in the quote unquote darkness.
Yes, yes, yes. So we want to, what is that word that they use? Excuse me, toxic positivity? Because
Right.
sometimes positivity can be toxic, where we think darkness and depression is not, oh, it's not something we want. But that's where the wisdom lies. That's where the wisdom lies. So many times I've heard that. The wisdom is in the darkness. And so with that, I started just asking people about Dark Night of the Soul, and not anyone really had answers, or maybe the answer they had was the answers that I need to hear at that time. Okay, but what really stuck with me was the one by Michael Beckwith, when he talks about a dark night of the soul. He says that you're in that dark night because you're losing your identity. You're losing the identity. You're losing the identity of the person you were in the past. So here I was in Ireland, losing the identity of being an American living in America. But I am not yet ready to identify with the new me that's emerging because it wasn't here yet. So I was lost. I was stuck in the middle of this. And I sometimes refer to it as like a holy chrysalis, where there's a lot going on, because there's a transformation. That's just what you talk about with this show when you're saying triumph, transformation, and then triumph. Here I am in this holy chrysalis, which in a chrysalis, they say there's a lot of muck and things going on, wings being formed. I was truly, truly in that chrysalis. But even then, I still felt that I was being held in safety. And I know some people that have dark nights of the soul say they don't always feel that way. But I felt that, yes, it was a lot going on. And when Michael Beckwith talks about not becoming the new person, you can't identify with the new because it's not here. You can't identify with the old because it's slipping away. Here's what really that he said that really helped. He says, ask yourself this question. If this situation never ends and I have to live the rest of my life in this situation, what qualities would I need to have? Would I need to have more strength? Would I need to have more courage? And what I felt is that I needed to tap into a gift that was inside of me that had always been there. In my Buddhist practice, it says, don't base your happiness on transient things. And everything really in life is transient until you go within, really, until you go within. And so I felt like the gift that I had, the gift that is innate, the gift that cannot be taken away by transient things, situations living here and there, is that I always felt like I was a good listener. That I was able to be with people and really listen without thinking about, oh, when am I going to cook for dinner? Oh, when are they going to finish? But just really listening, really listening to what they have to say. And if I am a good listener with others, am I a good listener with Bonnie? Am I a good listener with Bonnie? Am I listening to her? So with that said, that's when I could really embrace having. Oh, and that was the other part of Michael Beckwith saying too. What strength? What do you need to develop? Also, the other part of it is when you're going through a dark night of the soul, continue to do something for others. Continue to help others, not giving myself away to others, but what can I do? And that's when I started the spiritual circle. I think we both started circles around the same time.
Mhm.
So I started that because I felt that kept me reading my spiritual material, that kept me in touch, and of being of service. And I do want to add this, that I have realized, yes, I can be in service and serve, but serving like a queen, not like a doormat, serving like a queen. I let my light shine, and therefore it encourages others to let their light shine.
Hmm. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yes. Hmm.
Hmm. There is this wonderful thing about the dark night of the soul. You know, we tend to think of this. I mean, I don't know who originally gave it that name, but I'm starting to think the way you were talking about it, I'm starting to think of it as being not so much that it's a darkness, but that it's a fullness. It's actually rich.
Mm.
It's painful, it's distasteful, it could be horrifying even. But within that, there's information.
Mm. Mm.
And if you
Yes.
can even see, well, this is what I don't want, that's a trigger or stepping stone rather
Ooh.
to what I do want.
Mm. Mm.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
so being able to drop what is not working, release what is not working for you, that gives you the time, the space, the energy to embrace
Mm.
what could work
Mm.
for you. So,
Yes.
so how did you then witness a transformation in yourself?
Oh my goodness. So, gosh. This was the first time, even though we learned about visioning in class, when we had our prac studies, but there's something about somebody telling you to do something when life is just fine. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll vision. Oh, yeah. But when you're in that darkness night, when you're in a place of, I'll just use the word desperation. It doesn't have to stick. But just when you're at that place of desperation, it's like I thought I needed something. I needed something because everything else that I had tried had not worked. So I started visioning, and I started really to have a consistent practice of meditating. I've gone through my life with periods and episodes of meditating off and on. And so I started visioning, meditation. And the thing that really, really I felt that saved me was art. I do a soul collage. I do soul collage, and that's another program. I'll come back and talk about transformation through soul collage, and I'll bring some cards. But the art is, and I had been doing soul collage before that, but this time I embraced another modality of being able to have paints and things like that. And I joined a program that was online because everything was going online at that time. And that part of the art that you just paint, and she would allow you to just take a piece of paper and just paint one color and just be with the emotion of that. I feel like doing that artwork is what allowed me to just sit with those emotions of loneliness, let them come up and come up in a way that I could tolerate them, that I could, paint with them, that there was an end result to all of this loneliness and pain. That was just so healing. And continuing to, work on the actual transforming my thoughts and ideas from, yes, I have this great listening skill. What do I want to do with that? I know how much grief has always meant to me. And it was like, wow, listening and grief, people that are in grief, what do they need the most? They need to be heard. They need to be listened to. They need a place to go to empty. I mean, to truly empty. And it's like, wow, that's what I will do. And suddenly it just came in after one of these periods of just being in deep meditation, that yes, you will be a doula for grief, helping people heal from grief. And just because that really was the source, I feel, of my dark night of the soul. I was in true grief around a loss of an entire life lived in a certain way. So all of this, having the truth of being in a dark night, being transformed with art and soul collage and those modalities that helped to give birth to your doula for grief.
And we are so blessed,
Mm.
so blessed by that birth.
Yes, yes, yes. So, yes.
Okay.
Mm.
I want to acknowledge some of the comments we have here. So I
Oh,
see
please.
Juniper has joined us from Arizona.
Oh, I know her. She doesn't know me. Oh, no, I did meet her. Hi.
And let's see, Shay has said that she says no to spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
yes.
And Sean, hello, Sean. Sean says, in all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. We cannot change anything until we accept it. It's a quote from Carl Jung.
Mm. Yes. Yes. Thanks. And that's Sean. I was going to say, Sean, also, what is that? Creativity is born from chaos. Am I getting that quote right? I remember there's a Chinese symbol that even shows all the chaos and creativity coming from that.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that was marvelous. Absolutely marvelous.
Yes. So I know.
So how do people reach you?
Oh, not only do I have a program, Your Doula for Grief, it's on Mondays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, right here on New Thought Media Network. And you can email me, Bonnie@yourdoulaforgrief.com. And if you just go to yourdoulaforgrief.com, there's a place that you can contact me. You can just put in your contact information, and would just so love to be able to support you during your hour of need. I'll put it that way. Oh, so
So I have this quote that I told you that you had reminded me of.
okay.
Let me bring this up.
Okay.
Get rid of that. Okay. So this is from Dennis Merritt Jones, The Art of Being. He says, the truth is that every day offers opportunities to allow light to shine through the cracks of the wall called our belief system, into the unexplored rooms where our spiritual nature dwells, waiting patiently for us to enter and be more of who we were meant to be. So be excited and look for the cracks.
Oh my gosh. I love that. So I love that. You'll have to make sure you text me that or email it or send it to me, that be sure to look for the cracks. Great.
Mm-hmm. So what's next for you, Bonnie?
Oh my goodness. So, oh my goodness. So what is next for me? What I'm doing now, I am continuing to grow my Your Doula for Grief coaching practice. And I just finished the certified grief educator training, which you talk about having your dreams affirmed or having your path affirmed. The entire time that I was with, it was put on by David Kessler, and I highly recommend any of his workshops and trainings, but I think he's doing less and less of them now. But that just opened up another whole new world. And so we're looking at relocation again, which is okay. I'm okay. I'll be ready this time. If we relocate, there's dark night of the soul. I'm prepared. I am so prepared. But I've been giving workshops and classes here in Chapala. And I have done some online international workshops on griefs. So I'm focusing more on continuing workshops and classes, and formulating right now in the process of putting together a grief training program that will be an online, and one that you could be a self-paced grief training program for those that are interested. And whatever is next, I am open to receive it. I am open to have whatever gifts the universe wants to bestow on me, because I am in that space of trust now. So after going through what I've been through, I am just in that place of trust. So that's what's for me. I must say this. There is the Convention of the Americas that's happening right here in Chapala, August 6th through August 10th. You can get your tickets and sign up soon, and just go to the conventionoftheamericas.com, conventionoftheamericas.com. And it starts August 6th through the 10th, but Reverend Kathy Ann Lewis out of Seattle is going to be doing a workshop on the 5th if you wanted to fly in early and attend that. And it's a fly-in early to attend that. And I will be presenting my soul collage workshop on August 7th at the convention. It'll be on Wednesday. So you're not going to want to miss it. We've got wonderful activities planned before and after the conference. So it's really, you owe it to yourself to come and have fun.
Excellent.
So thank you. Yes. So,
We have another comment from Lori. Lori is a practitioner, a wonderful practitioner here on the New Thought Media Network as well. Says thank you for this, and she is open to receive her gifts as well, Bonnie.
Oh, wonderful. I have a sister that's ready to receive. Oh my gosh. So this is just, I can't believe the time has gone by.
I know.
So fast. And should I do my recap now? And
go for it.
Oh my God. Oh goodness, thank you so much. So I just wanted to do just a brief recap of, the truth of my situation. And the truth of my situation is that I was really, truly in a dark space. And the transformation came by realizing that, accepting that, moving through that dark night of the soul, receiving allowing hands to support me in that, and doing my deep inner work. That was a process. It wasn't a one-stop shop. Transformation is just like any other process, just like the 5 stages of grief. It's like, one day you're in acceptance. The next day you could be in denial. The next day you could be in anger. It wasn't a linear process, but it was a process that gave birth, that gave rise to my passion now, my love for helping those in grief. And it gave birth to your doula for grief. And with that, and so it is.
Thank you, Bonnie.
A pleasure.
I am just so delighted to have had you here on the show, and I don't even have enough words to say how delighted I am to have you in my life.
Oh, equal. Oh, yes. I just, so I'm always just honored every time we talk to know that a connection can be built to this depth and breadth on the human level, to just have a human that you just love and admire. A human, not even man, woman, a human that I love and admire. I thank you so.
Well, before I run over on my time, I just want to thank everyone for being here. And I want you to know that if you would like to be my guest on this show, and believe me, I am certain that you have something in your life that you have looked at and been able to overcome, please, by all means, send me an email, zodemuro@gmail.com. And I look forward to seeing you all next month. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay, let me see. What am I doing here?
We're ending the show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.